Wipe up. Yo, what's going on, everyone? Hold on, let me post this to my story. What's going on, everyone? Late night crowd, what is up? How are we doing? Yes, of course I remember you. So Boogie just went down with an injury that looks. It was a non-contact. He kind of blew a tire. Obviously, we don't want to assume anything, but he grabbed his hip and his leg, and he could barely stand up. He went straight to the locker room. Um, so we won't pass judgment, but that could be huge going forward. Um, so what's going on, guys? This is going to be hopefully a more common thing for the late night crowd. I'm going to be live streaming during the NBA playoffs, during some of the later games, and then on the weekends. Thank you, Funkmeister, for subbing. I appreciate that. So Warriors still lead by 5, but obviously the bigger concern is Boogie is, uh, you know, I'm not going to make any assumptions, but he could be out for a little, so we'll definitely have to see. My favorite NBA player, Jaden asks, is CP3. So I kind of told this story before, but Chris Paul in high school, his grandfather passed away, and he scored the amount of points that his grandfather was that age on that day. So that really inspired me. Followed him through Wake Forest, through the NBA draft, him and Tyson Chandler, pick and roll for the Hornets. Almost went to the Lakers, then the Clippers. He's never really made it he finally made a conference finals, got hurt, unfortunately. Never been to a finals. People say he's a loser, but I really respect that he comes back every year and just fights and fights and tries to improve. Who do I think is the most overrated player in the NBA? That's a pretty good question. If Draymond wasn't so good defensively, I would put him as pretty overrated. I'm trying to think of some of the All-Stars that are overrated. I don't know. Wiggins, people are starting to understand he's not that good. So Cat Von Trapp says, I think the Warriors can definitely take on the Clippers, so maybe sit Boogie the rest and save him for game 3. What's my opinion? What's up, Steven? Thanks for joining. So, you're sitting Boogie pretty much the rest of the series if it's anything at all, even if it's minor. They're going to walk by the Clippers. The Clippers had a valiant season. Really tough fought, probably should not have made the playoffs. Their older brother, the Lakers, probably should have had the talent to make it. But the Warriors, with or without Boogie, are a way better team and probably sweep or win in 5. So Christian Ruiz says Ben Simmons is low-key overrated. Ben is super tough to judge because his performance wavers night in, night out. For example, tonight he had a playoff triple-double in a blowout of the Nets. And then the night before, he's pretty ineffective with his scoring, turning the ball over. In the playoffs, he gets exposed a ton because he can't shoot. And then you can kind of scheme around that versus during the course of the regular season when – you don't have as much time to put in strategy, film, stuff like that. But Ben, when he's in attack mode, attacking transition, running the ball up the court quickly, he's pretty good. I know he doesn't have the jump shot or the threat of shooting, but I would say he's still a pretty good player. Which team do I want to see win the finals? I want to see the Celtics. I'm a Celtics fan. What team do I think will win the finals? I think the Warriors win the finals. Now with Boogie going down, maybe that changes a little. But I see the Warriors winning. I want the Celtics, but I see the Rockets as a serious, serious threat to the Warriors in the next round. Harden looked superb last night against the Jazz. The Jazz are a good team, but I think the Rockets will get through them 5 or 6 games there. So Rockets in the West could challenge the Warriors. And then if the Clippers really challenge the Warriors, which it doesn't look like it, but still, if the Rockets take the Warriors to 7, and then let's say like the Thunder or Nuggets take the Warriors to 6, maybe they're drained in time for the Bucks, who I actually think will have a somewhat easy time getting to the finals. So that's kind of what I see right now. Wait, hold on. Let me listen for the injury report. Yeah, they're not talking about Boogie. Um, so I think there's potential threats. People don't understand how difficult it is to three-peat and then to go to 5 finals over the course of 5 years. It takes a serious toll on your body. You're not getting that extra month or two of rest ever. You're playing deep into the playoffs. You're playing. So these guys play 82 games, right, which is a ton of games. And then the Warriors won 16-1 in one playoffs, but for the majority, they're playing 20 plus games. So that's a quarter, an extra quarter of the season for 5 straight years. So if you do the math, not to be too nerdy here, but you're playing an entire extra season of games um, by going to the finals 4 straight years. So that is very difficult to do. And to keep that momentum, keep the mentality of night in, night out. And then once you're at the top, like the Warriors are right now, um, everyone is gunning for you and just wants to take you down and has the utmost motivation. So it becomes tougher and tougher each year. Yes, this team is super talented and should win, but last year it went to 6 and 7 games against the Rockets. If Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, who knows what happens? So that's kind of my outlook on the playoffs this year. What's up, guys? HQNK is my boy. Throw him a sub. He wants to do a yeah. Tutorial guy asks, why is he the only one who likes the stream? Everyone, give it a like so that we can get more views and add more people to the Real Sports fam. The more people in the Real Sports fam, the more giveaways and the more ways that I reward the Real Sports fam. So throw out some likes, tell your friends, and sub to the channel. Come on, guys. Thank you. Let's go. Let's get those numbers up. Up, up, up. Hold on. Let me try and find this Boogie clip for to post in my story. Yeah, let me just post this real quick. Bucks gonna win Giannis for MVP. Giannis is my MVP. I believe he'll win the MVP award. Will the Bucks win the title? It just look. I can say my pick is the Warriors, which is kind of a babyish pick. Obviously, they're the best team. Or I can try and call the upset. Like I'm saying, the Rockets could beat them, but it's like it's not cool either way because I look like an idiot, or I just look like I'm saying it to say it when I say the Rockets. But I do really believe that the Rockets have a chance of taking them down. Aiden asked, do I get paid for doing Snapchat? I don't get paid from Snapchat. Some of the ads that I show you guys, people will try and pay me to promote some stuff for them, but I only ever pick stuff that's going to be interesting to you guys, so it doesn't feel like an ad. So like those cool sports posters I post about, the play line contests, which are always free to enter except for sometimes. But what I'm curious, I actually have a question for you guys. Have you guys done Ball Street trading yet? So comment below and tell me if you've tried out Ball Street trading while I post this. Hey Ryan, what's up? Yeah, guys, keep telling me if you've done Ball Street trading while I do this, and then we'll be back on the stream. 1 second. What's up, Mason? How's it going? So this is kind of new to the Real Sports Fam, is my YouTube channel, but also is this late night live stream. So I think we're gonna have the late night crew, right? So every night that I hop on and do this, I'm gonna recognize that people are in the late night crew, and we're gonna be the late night gang. So that should be fun. Before you guys go to bed, or if you're on the West Coast, if you're chilling after dinner. Um, so how many DMs do I get per day? I would say like probably 1 or 2 thousand on Snap. It's pretty crazy. I try to get back to everyone that I can, but there's a lot of messages. What's up, Shane Wright? How are you? Kat Vaughn says, I'll be here every time. I appreciate that. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to try and get some of my friends on here. I'm going to try and change up the topics, but for the most part, we'll just have the game on in the background. I'll kind of talk about the game, answer a bunch of your questions. Mason says, hi, Jack, can you say hi, Big Cave More for me? I don't know if he's messing with me, but hi, Big Cave More. Ryan Wall says he'll be part of the late night gang. Tutorial stream, he'll never miss a stream. The Goat AJ will be here. So Mason says I should make some merch for the Real Sports Fam. So comment and let me know if you guys want some merch for the Real Sports Fam, and maybe we'll do an exclusive late night gang T-shirt. And then if you're constantly in the stream, I'll actually send you guys, or you'll have the chance to buy. So tell me if you want some merch for the Real Sports Fam. I kind of like the logo I ended up making. It's pretty sweet. Tyrone Smith says, yo, shout out Tyrone Smith. So I like to shout you guys out in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, we can't do it every 2 seconds. So Zarnstein and Hayden just joined in and said, what happened to Boogie? So Boogie actually made a nice play. He jumped the passing lane, and then chasing down the ball, it looked like he just tripped, but then he couldn't get up, and it cut away. The Clippers made a basket. They stopped the game, and he went immediately to the locker room. So it really does appear that he might have hurt his hip, which would not be good at all, because a hip or a hamstring. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Okay, so the official word on DeMarcus is a left quad injury. He's out for the game, which we assumed, not a big deal for that part of it. But he's getting an MRI probably tonight or tomorrow morning, so I'll have more details later on. But that's a serious injury, and that's not going to be good for the Warriors. So while I have you guys here, do me a favor, if you haven't already, which I know most of you guys have, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing Late Night Fam live streams with you guys all the time coming up. I'm also going to be posting like a podcast video web series coming up. Hopefully going to do interviews with athletes. So definitely do a lot of stuff on YouTube. And if you guys haven't checked it out, we're going to be live trading on Ball Street for real money contests and prizes, free to enter, of course, for you guys. So let's get to some questions. I know you guys have a ton of NFL questions, but let's go with some NBA questions for tonight. I've kind of answered MVP, Rookie of the Year. So let's kind of get creative with some questions, and let me know what you want to know the answer to. White Lightning says, I love Wallpaper Wednesday. Yeah, that seems to be everyone's favorite. The wallpapers have been freaking sick that I've been posting. So screenshot them. If you can't screenshot it because my name and stuff is in the way, DM me on Instagram, jsettleman23. I don't see everything on Snap. I see everything on Insta, though, so you can do that. David said, will I ever do video games? What do you mean video games? Like, will I play on here, or what's that question mean? Um, so Mason asked a really good question, NBA centric, which I'm asking for. How do you feel about KD's new attitude? Because he's been ejected more times than I can count. So if you guys have followed KD over the past about 5 to 6 years, he was quiet. He was an assassin, kind of put his head down, came from a single mother, and just like he was the quiet personality. He was like not Robin to Westbrook's Batman, but in terms of personality. And then he gets to the Warriors and he kind of sticks with that personality. And then I think he takes so much abuse online. He kind of becomes a little bit of a diva because he starts winning and can now talk trash. And yeah, his personality really has changed a lot over the past couple of years. I like it. I like that the killer in him has come out, and we've seen it in his play, which is the most important. He's won a Finals MVP. He's hit big shots over Bron in back-to-back finals. So if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk, and he has been. So I'll pay respects to that. Aiden asks, have I ever seen Thunderstruck? I know Katie was in the movie. I've never seen it. I heard it wasn't that good. So I don't think I'll be checking it out anytime soon. I am excited for Space Jam 2, although it's a little odd to me that LeBron can't find Curry behind the back, Draymond to Curry, Curry for three. Curry, so Steph is one of the most fun, if not the most fun player to watch in the league. Like, he plays the game with such a high energy, smile on his face, shares the ball when he has to, and his heat checks are just silly. Excuse me. So, let's see. Some more questions. Who's my defensive player of the year? That's a really good question. So people in the running that I've heard are like Paul George, Gobert, Draymond's there every year. Kawhi should be, although he missed a bunch of time. But I don't think Miles Turner wins, but I think he deserves a lot of respect. He was top in the league in blocks. He centered like a really strong defense in Indiana. I would give it to Gobert. I think his impact on the court defensively, not only blocking shots. So people get too focused on who actually is blocking a shot, tipping shots and stuff. To me, it's about affecting the most shots. And Gobert's length really affects a ton of shots. He's a super smart defender. So I would probably go with Gobert. I guess Paul George is a really good second option. He steals the ball and plays really strong on the defense in a league where scoring comes from the forward and guard spot, which Gobert doesn't really guard. So I could see both arguments. So those are my top two. I just wanted to give a special shout out to Miles Turner, my UT boy. Here's my Texas blanket. Zarnstein says Gobert is a crybaby. So I don't know if he's referring to the clip after the All-Star break of him not making the All-Star team, or if he's just saying he cries a lot, like complains on the court. But my opinion on that is actually completely different. So Gobert was really upset because he strived his whole life, came from a different country into a league dominated by Americans, and he really wanted to be respected and honored in an all-star spot. I know it's not a huge deal nowadays because it's a lot of guys are getting a lot of times, but for him, it really hit home. It kind of said to him, hey, you're not good enough yet. And I don't mind if you're going to cry and not do anything about it. That's a different story. But I know Gobert got back in the gym. He recommitted himself, and I would bet he's an all-star next year. So I respect that aspect of him. So Jaden Villanueva asks, where do you think Zion Williamson is going to go? Zion's the number one pick to me. He declared for the draft today, as you all know. So he doesn't really have a choice on where he's going. He's going to go to whoever gets the first pick. I don't really see any team passing him up for Ja. Maybe the Suns, but I still would disagree with that decision. Was I surprised when Zion declared? Shane Wright asked. No, that was like the most obvious thing that was ever going to happen. Hayden says, I know Mikal Bridges. I can try and get him on your podcast. He's hard to get in touch with. Hayden, shoot me a DM on Instagram or Snap, JSelman23. I'm putting in the comments on Instagram. Send me a DM and let's figure it out. If you make it happen, you will get a special shout out and a segment on and some merch from me. Let's see who. If Devin Booker wasn't on the Suns, would he still score as much if he was on a good team? It's all dependent. I think, like, let's say you swap Clay and Booker. I think he probably scores a little less, but he'll be pretty efficient. He has a very similar shooting ability to Clay. He can actually score more off the dribble. Clay's a better catch and shoot shooter, which fits best with the Warriors. But I think Booker's a really good scorer. It's more about his ability to create for others and play defense. That's kind of been a question lately of how good he truly is. David Condon says, I can put my dad on the podcast. I don't know if I don't know your Irish dad, but maybe we can hook you up with some merch. So Mason asked, do you think Portland can pull it out and beat OKC? I think they will. I don't like Russ, even though he's good, but Lillard really needs that chip. So I'll just start off by saying Portland's not winning the title this year. They're not deep enough. They don't have enough star power to compete in the West. But can they beat OKC? Without a doubt. As you know in my story, I predicted that Portland would win game 1, but OKC would win the series in 6. I think over the course of the series, Nurkic will prove to be a big loss. Portland barely pulled away in a game that OKC shot terribly, and Enes Kanter played an absolute career game. So Cat Von Trapp, I appreciate you for being here. Have a good night. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to make sure to thank the strong Real Sports Fam late night grind followers. So back to Portland OKC. So Kanter has a career night. OKC shoots the ball terribly. Paul George seemed pretty injured. Apparently he's feeling much better. Westbrook turns his ankle in the 4th, and they only lose by 5 points. I just think over the course of 6 games, the Thunder will outdo them. But hey, Lillard can win 1 game by himself, so that could be 2 games. McCollum's playing well, and they have home court in the series. So I definitely am not ruling it out. I just see the Thunder coming through in the series. This is a really good question, and I feel like I have some really strong insight on this. So it's Yured. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He asked, Giannis, GOAT combo, end of career. So greatest all time. I'm going to take this 2 angles. First off, I spoke with the Sixers owner about a year ago, and he said to me, people believe Giannis Antetokounmpo will be a top 5 player of all time. And that wasn't just his opinion. That was the general opinion around the league. A year later, he's most likely an MVP. He's completely improved his game to a whole different level, virtually unstoppable except for the jump shot. And so let's say he adds a jump shot. People forget. MJ really didn't have a great jumper at the beginning of his career. LeBron didn't have a great jumper. So Giannis has only been hooping for so long. He's still super young. I don't know if Giannis will ever get to GOAT because he's starting Milwaukee, so he probably won't win a ring that soon. He'll have to go to a bigger market where he can team up with a star or two. But then he could win 4 or 5 titles, right? If he's with like a Curry, imagine him and Curry. We saw it in the All-Star game. That would be freaking incredible. But yes, I think Giannis, just his athleticism, his skills, his abilities, his youth, his potential, I don't think he ends up as GOAT. I mean, that's impossible to predict, but I think he's a legit top 10, top 5 of all-time player when it's all said and done. Let's see. Warriors up 11, 10 minutes to play in the second. The Warriors, see, this is the aspect that people don't understand about the Warriors. Not only are they an incredible offensive team with KD, Clay, and Steph scoring the ball, when it comes playoff time, they turn up the defense, and that's what really elevates and separates their game. KD, strong on-ball defender, and guarded LeBron for final series. Clay, incredible on-ball defender. You can put him on their top guard and kind of put Curry on the second best guard. Iguodala off the bench. Draymond is a defensive player of the year candidate. So that's the aspect of the Warriors that is so underrated. That is why they're a championship team versus a team like the Rockets who can really fill it up as best as the Warriors. But when it comes to playing defense, Harden's not that strong. CP3 is good, but has been injured. PJ Tucker, no good defensively. Gordon, not really. Capella's pretty strong in the paint, but for the most part, that's the difference in the Warriors and the rest of those teams. Let's see. Cole asks, Cole, what did you ask, brother? I can't see your question. Trenton says, hey, just joined. Trenton, welcome. Thank you for joining the late night crowd. That is what it's all about. So in the comment section, I'm actually curious because I always want to learn more about you guys. What time is it where you are? Right now I'm on the East Coast. It's 11:30. I'm saying the late night crowd, but for you all on the West Coast, it could be, 8:30. So tell me what time it is where you are. So I see a lot of Central Time people. I see some East Coasters, some West Coasters, Arizona. Daniel, 1 p.m. Daniel, where are you? Ryan, New York gang, let's get it. Wisconsin, go Bucks. Trenton, I got you. Jack, will my boy Carson Edwards go top 10? It's Yared with another great question. No, Carson will not be a top 10 player, although he was a top 3 or 5 in college this year. College game does not translate necessarily to the NBA, as you'll see people like Mo Bamba, who is decent in college, but will go top 5 based off potential, length, athleticism, youth, versus people like Cassius Winston won't be that high of a pick. He's staying, but for next year, Carson won't be that high of a pick, even though he can fill it up. A perfect example is like Shabazz Napier. He led UConn to a championship a few years. He was a late pick. So Carson won't, but I think Carson will make it in the NBA. He's a pure scorer. Pure scorers always seem to find their way in the league. Even if it's off the bench, they find a role on a team. He's really small, so that's tough defensively, but I think Carson will make it in the league. But no, to answer your question, he'll not be top 10. Patrick Cassidy asked, do you think Ja Morant will be good in the NBA? Absolutely. So this is where I like to start with my point guard is on his vision and playmaking ability. I don't really care if someone like Barrett, who can fill up the score sheet and then can pass the ball decent. I love a point guard that can start and just sees the floor incredibly, can manage a game beautifully, and has great playmaking abilities. Then from there, you put him with NBA coaches and trainers, and you can teach a guard who has great length and talent how to score and shoot. You can't really teach vision. So I think Morant will be a star. It's also underrated that a lot of drafting has to do with the situation you're put into, right? So if Morant goes to a team with bad coaching or bad youth development or doesn't have the right pieces, he might struggle early in his career. For example, Colin Sexton this year, right? He gets thrown into a situation where he needs to be a scoring point guard when in reality he's very young, similar to De'Aaron Fox. Fox, right off the bat in his rookie year, he wasn't that strong. They put some pieces around him. They let him develop. He's like 19 or 20 years old, and now he's going to be a star point guard in the league. Ufers Man asks, who do you think will win in the Stanley Cup? And so I actually am from Maryland, so close to DC. The Caps are my favorite team. Huge Stanley Cup victory last year. That was awesome to watch Ovechkin and the Caps finally pull through in the playoffs. I actually like us to potentially repeat this year. Crosby, our nemesis, is probably about to get knocked out. The Islanders up 3-0. The Lightning, which is the favorite to win the Cup, now down 3 on their series. They're probably out. And then the West seems up for grabs. Calgary's getting smoked tonight. The Preds are good, but can never seem to really put together. So if I had to pick a team right now, I like the Caps to repeat, even though we did get kind of smacked tonight. But if we win Game 4 and go home and get the series in 5, I think we'll be in good shape. So Daniel asks, what do you think about the Miami Heat young core? Been a follower for a year. So yes, thank you, Daniel, for following. He asked about Bam, Josh Richardson, and Winslow. So Bam is really strong centerpiece. I think guys like Bam, DeAndre Jordan, Mitchell Robinson. I'm trying to think of like athletic centers who play good D and can finish around the Capella. I love those pieces for championship teams. Kind of like JaVale even last year for the Warriors. Like, do your role. We're not asking you to post up in this day and age. So Bam, I like Winslow, strong defender, showed some promise at point guard. I think he's more of a 6-man type of role, which isn't, people get offended by saying someone's a 6-man. I think he's pretty solid. Richardson is a solid scorer. They have the pieces. They haven't really been able to get people in free agency lately, which is definitely a concern because Miami and Pat Riley were known to bring in strong pieces, especially the LeBron and Bashir. Dragic has never really played up to standards, has been hurt for Miami. So I like their young core, but they have a lot of work to do in the offseason. While you're here, while I have you guys, thank you for being part of the late night stream, late night crowd. Make sure you subscribe. I don't know where the subscribe button is on your screen. So like I'll just point to all the corners and below and above. So subscribe to the stream. We'll do this all the time. We'll do this on weekends. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff on YouTube, I promise. So just throw a subscribe. It's free. It's not going to kill anyone. But thank you for following on Snap. It really means the world to me. It means the world when you guys engage with me. Send to your friends. Screenshot. I love it all. Always feel free to send a message. Zarnstein says, did I see the fight with Ovechkin? Obviously, it's on my story. Ovechkin knocked him out. 19-year-old rookie tried to mess with Ovechkin, who's a star, but he's a tough one, and he smacked him around. David asked, how did my Snap blow up? So I collabed with a bunch of big accounts. I post content every 30 minutes for the most part, which is a crazy amount of content. I caption, I post my opinions, I respond to you guys. It's all a combination of hard work. I've been doing this for 18 months. Like it's every single day, never a break. I've taken like one vacation in this time period where I wasn't posting. It was for like 2 days. So, hard work pays off. This is a good question for you guys. I was thinking about doing a class on here, not really a class, but a short 30, 45-minute video where I actually explain the process of blowing up on social media, helping you guys out if that's something you want to try and do, but with an understanding that it's very, very difficult and that it takes a lot of hard work. So comment below if you're interested in that. I would definitely consider doing that for you guys. Ashley Jenkins says we try to make the wallpapers easier screenshot. So they're formatted for wallpaper. I know it's tough with my name and the mentioned in the bottom. So just DM me on Instagram or DM me on Snap, reply to my Snap. I'll send you the picture. If I don't get to it, just DM me on Instagram. I get to every message on Instagram. I'll keep preaching that. But yeah. So let's see. Who's my most underrated player? My most underrated player in the NBA is going to be a hot topic that Doc Rivers just said, and it's Stephen Curry. I think Steph is a top 3. It's tough. Giannis and Harden really showed out this year, and LeBron is still one of the greatest in the league. So, but I think it's Steph. Steph makes the best team in the world, best team ever run. When he's out, the Warriors are a 500 team. When KD's out, they don't skip a beat. They won 73 games. They won a title without KD. It's got to be Steph to me. His shooting, he's probably the one player in the game who can fully impact a possession just by running around, doesn't need to touch the ball, can get his teammates open just by drawing attention. So I will always say it's Steph. His passing is underrated. The one flaw of Steph is he has faded in the finals, and whether it was because of injuries, whether it's because KD was hot and he was smart to give him the spotlight, whatever the reason may be, that is his flaw. I think that changes this year. I think he's going to win Finals MVP and cement his legacy as a Hall of Famer, already the greatest shooter ever. But yes, somehow I think Steph is underrated. Peter Goers asked, do I think Cat is a top 3 center in the NBA? The NBA, there's not many centers anymore. So you have Embiid is number 1. I would put Cat at probably 2, and then maybe Cousins when healthy at 3. Like you have people like Giannis, AD. They're fours. They're power forwards. It's tough. I think it should be big men and guards. So by the position center, yes, I have Cat as a top 3. And sorry, a very good call, Christian. Jokic is number 2 for me. Cat would be number 3. So Mason says, "What's my Instagram?" So I'm putting in the chat. I just did see a question I liked from. Uh, do I think Kyle Guy gets drafted? I don't think he gets drafted. Maybe he's a late second rounder just because of his ability to shoot. Pretty good defender. Could definitely make it in the league. He seems like a G League or European guy who kind of gets his shot in the league, but I don't know if he hangs around. Shane, have a good night. Thank you for hopping in. I appreciate you staying up late and being a part of the late night fan. Rookie of the year. I'm not going to go into this because I'm hoping to go into this on Wednesday, post it on Thursday with my friend Ben, who's a reporter for the NBA. I have Luka, but we'll go more in depth about why I think Luka's the rookie of the year, and why he has Trey. We'll also go over MVP, Dirk Wade legacy. I don't think we'll touch on GOAT. I want to do GOAT with my friend who thinks LeBron is the GOAT. I'm an MJ guy. So yes, all things to look forward to on my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Good night, Patrick. Thanks for being part of the late night fan. Daniel Hand says, is Shea Gilgeous Alexander like Rondo, yeah or nah? Yes, they resemble a lot of the same game. I think SGA has actually scored more and shown more of ability to shoot early in his career than I expected, and more than Rondo had, definitely. So that's promising for him. Durant with the finish. Wow. So Warriors up 13, no boogie, 6 minutes to go in the half. They're just better than the Clippers. At some point, it becomes a talent disparity. You can only outcoach people so well with Doc being a great coach, but Kerr's a great coach. Like I was saying earlier, the Warriors are really strong defensively. And I don't get how, but they get contributions from their bench and role players like no other team in the league. Looney does everything perfect for them, dunks the ball, finishes around the rim, rebounds. This guy McKinney comes out of nowhere. He's hitting threes, albeit they are open. But look, if he's in the spot and he hits the shot, that's huge. Iggy, Finals MVP. He plays great D, somehow hits shots. The one player that never performed for them was Harrison Barnes, and that's a big part as to why they lost the finals and eventually replaced him with Kevin Durant, which is just a crazy thought. While you guys are here, like this video. Why not? Throw it a like just for fun. Thank you all. Who's my favorite college team? So I went to the University of Texas at Austin. Kevin Durant, PJ Tucker, LaMarcus Aldridge, some of the greats, Miles Turner, Mo Bamba, Jared Allen in the more recent years, DJ Augustine, who hit that huge three. I was a huge fan of him growing up. AJ Abrams, who, if you guys have never seen AJ Abrams highlights, look him up. That was a big part of why I like Texas basketball, is because he was about 5'8", and they told a story about how his dad, because he used to get off the most ridiculous shots, right? He's playing against guards who are 6'2", 6'3", and he used to train with his dad, and his dad would hold up a broom, and he would have to shoot over it as a young kid, and it trained him to shoot high arcing shots, and he was really a fun player to watch at Texas. So if you haven't, I don't know how many YouTube clips. I might have to find some and cut up a video, but AJ Abrams, really fun player that played at Texas. And I went to school there, so of course I'm going to support. Okay, so this is a test for who is one of my biggest fans. If you got it's Yared, thank you for the questions. Have a good night. I really appreciate you. So for my diehards who go back over a year, and if you're new to the page or even over the last 6 months, still much love. But if you've been here for over a year, you would know this person, Joe Schwartz. Who is he? How do we know Joe? And what's his connection to Texas and basketball? Comment below if you know, if you're a day oneer. Obviously, if you're new, I appreciate the new love, and we will teach you all these things. But comment if you know who Joe is. Trent asks, who's my favorite college football team? It's Texas. I went to Texas. We are going to the playoff. I will say that until we do not this year. But yes, Texas, Sam Ehlinger, keep that name on your mind. So if you're commenting about Joe, so Joe is one of my close friends. He was a walk-on at Texas. So that's how we know Joe. We celebrated Joe his senior day. We were there for when he got in a bunch. So yes, that is Joe. Look him up. Joe Schwartz played for UT. Let's see. What's up, Zach? Welcome to the Late Night Fam. This is my only channel. That's an interesting name. Some scouts have Rui Hachimura going as high as pick 4. How do I feel about that? I love Rui. He didn't play amazing in the tournament, but really strong player. As a top 5 pick, though, I don't really see him as top 5. He's for sure lottery pick for me. Brandon Clark on Gonzaga could actually go above Rui. He's really good. He kind of flew under the radar for Gonzaga, but the pros and the scouts love his game, so keep an eye out for him. Yeah. Ryan says good night. So we got about 3 minutes until halftime. We'll run the stream till half, so you guys should stick around. Keep asking those questions. Zach says, when will I release my full mock draft? I'm thinking about doing a video. So here's the thing. I don't know how much you guys really like to read content. I prefer delivering it through live stuff like this or video stuff where you can watch, kind of skip through. Reading, who really likes to read nowadays? You read enough in school, you read enough at work. So I'll definitely consider doing at least a top 5 or 10 mock draft. I think when it gets into like the 17s and the 22s, it's really tough to predict that deep. But we could also do a combo where it could be like I predict the top 5, where I think they should go, and then like some interesting players like Carson Edwards, Kyle Guy, people you guys asked about tonight. The dude you want to know says, is Ben Simmons a top 5 in the league if he gets a 3-point jumper? Not quite. If he starts getting a consistent jumper, though, it really opens up his game. So it's tough to project a ceiling on him, right? But you have people like Curry, Giannis, Harden, LeBron. Embiid's better on his own team right now. I mean, if Giannis gets a 3, what if Giannis gets a 3, right? So he's for sure the number 1 player in the league. So it's tough to predict, but Ben does need to add that jumper, not because it would help with him scoring, but actually getting to the basket. Do you think Zion will do well in the NBA with more athletic and taller people as you see Taco Fall gave him trouble in the first half? That's a really good question to GOAT, AJ. I think Zion will be fine. His athleticism has him above the rim. You also have to remember, because of Duke's inability to shoot, right? Cam Reddish couldn't shoot well. Jack White was a horrible shooter. Barrett was streaky. Trey Jones could not shoot at all in the UCF game. The paint was absolutely packed. There were no lanes to drive. There was so much support, double teams, triple teams. So Zion, who was already catching contested, was driving into a bunch of large, including Taco, compact defenses. In the NBA, with the hand checking rule, with the ability to space the floor with more shooters, I think he'll have a great ability to score and attack, even with the athleticism, because as tall and as athletic as the guys in the league like DeAndre are down low, Gobert, Capella, Zion is a freak of an athlete, an absolute freak. Mo Money says, sup, man. Mo Money, welcome to the Late Night Fam. Thank you for hopping in the stream. I appreciate that. Let's see some more questions. I thought Zion was staying. I don't know where people started that rumor. Zion never said he was staying. I think it was an April Fool's joke that somehow fooled like a ton of you guys. And I posted that on my story today. It was shocking. Zion, there was a 0.0% chance Zion staying. Trey Jones is staying, which was the right move for him, in my opinion. Cam Reddish should have stayed. I think his draft stock got absolutely crushed this year because he couldn't really shoot that well. But he's going to the league. So they'll have Trey. Coach K will bring in some new recruits. Duke should be fine, but we'll see. Like the Warriors' offense is just so fluid, so free moving. It's beautiful to watch. Anath Siram, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Real Sports Fam, yes, Real Sports Fam is here. We had a record high in the live stream tonight. We had over 65 people, so that's love. 45 minutes. If you guys have been with me from minute one to now, I appreciate that. I do have another question. So a big part of our relationship, me and you guys, is giveaways, interacting with you guys, but also getting feedback. So that's why I started this YouTube channel. You guys told me to get on YouTube. That way I could go live and do more stuff like this. But I am curious. Snap released a new feature where you can turn on my post notifications. I wasn't really aware of that. Do any of you guys have my post notifications on? I'm really curious if people use that on Snapchat, or if that's kind of an underutilized feature, or if you're going to go and do that right now. Aiden says yes. Patrick says yes. This is my only channel, says yes. So that's awesome. I didn't realize that. I really love that you guys do that. Thank you very much, Jaden, all you guys. David Dews asks, what NBA team do you think is the best fit for Zion? The company I worked for, Action Network, wrote a really cool piece on this, and they highlighted not only the best fits, but I think a more fun question that I might tackle in a YouTube video is, where would he be the most fun, right? So for my personal benefit, that would be on the Knicks with Kyrie and KD. I would buy season tickets. I would hopefully bring a couple of you guys to some games, but we could shoot some content live at games, hopefully make relationships with people at the stadium, get some behind the scenes looks. You never know. The ceiling is high with that. So plus, it would be really cool for him to play in the Garden under the bright lights. He's never backed down from that kind of star spotlight before. So that would be number one for me. Number two would be the Hawks. Trey, Zion, John Collins is super underrated. Um, and I think it would be really cool for Atlanta to get him. That could be an incredible young core. They have nice culture down in Atlanta, so that would be really cool. And then number three would be the Lakers. The Lakers have a lottery pick, and Steph Curry just cannot stop scoring in this series. So the Lakers have a lottery pick. They are a long shot to get him, but if they get him with LeBron, that team is going to be so fun to watch next year. I'm not the biggest LeBron guy. I love his game. I think he's amazing. David Dews adds, if he was on the Mavs with Porzingis and Luka, that would be really cool. I think that's could be too many like big bulky guys who are filling space. They kind of need a guard on that team, even though Luka handles the ball and is a great playmaker. The very sneaky one that no one is thinking about. The Wizards are in the lottery, have a chance at a top pick. Wall is supposed to be injured through next year. But if he comes back and you have Brad Beal, who really developed into a star scorer and all-star this year, Zion, Wall, Beal, do the Wizards finally put it together and bring in some vets to complete that team? That could be fun. So that's a sleeper team to keep an eye on. So last questions of the night. Let's do it right now. I'm going to answer one more, and then we're going to go watch the second half of this game. DM me on Instagram. DM me on Snap. Always join in for the late night YouTube streams. If you're not subscribed, I don't even know what you're doing here at this point. So the last question of the night is, what is the final score of this game? Okay, I'm just going to predict the final score. So Warriors are up. Let me take a look at the score. They're reviewing a play right now. They're reviewing it. Oh, here we go. 66-48 with a minute to go in the first half. I'm going Warriors 123 and Clippers 108. So I'm going to write that down. Warriors 123, Clippers 108. Patrick says spread Golden State minus 13.5. I think they do. Patrick, if you didn't know, I work for a sports betting company. DM me on Instagram, jsettleman23. We're going to make a sports betting snap group where we're going to talk about he says there's going to be a Snapchat post. Yeah, so Patrick, DM me on Instagram. I'm going to put it right here. jsettleman23. DM me. I'm going to add you to our sports. Yeah, there we go. I'm a degenerate sports gambler. So if you guys actually bet on sports, you're 18 plus, DM me on Instagram. I'm going to add you guys to a chat, and we are going to make some money. I went on some nice hot streaks during football. I made a lot of money on the Nets this year. So if you guys like to bet and you're of age, hit me up. If you have no IG, what's your Snap name? Peter Goer says I should be studying, but I always have to watch the streams. I appreciate that. School is first, but Real Sports Fam is really first. All right, Patrick, I will add you into the chat. KD with only 8 points in the first half, but Warriors up 20, so can't really complain there. Fellow UT boys, let's go. I'm 22 years old. I'm thinking of a way to end the chat and the stream in a cool way going forward. So if you guys have any feedback or suggestions, let me know. But for tonight, that is all. Good night. I love you, Real Sports Fam. Take a picture of this stream, send it to me on Instagram, on Snapchat, and I will add some of you back. Have a good night, Real Sports Fam.